is not a cowboy poem. It's about the Northland. It's an incident that's supposed to actually happen at the old Malamute Saloon just out of Fairbanks, Alaska. It says a bunch of the boys were whooping it up in the Malamute Saloon. And the kid that handled the music box was hitting the ragtime tune. Back of the bar in a solo game sat the dangerous Dan McGrew. And watching his luck was his light of love, the lady known as Lou. Well, out of the night, which was 50 below, at the end of the din and glare, there stumbled a miner just in from the creek, dog dirty and loaded for bear. He looked like a man with a foot in the grave, and scarcely the strength of a louse. Yet he set a large bag of gold on the bar and ordered drinks for the house. There was none who could place a stranger's face, though we searched ourselves for a clue. But we drank his health, and the last to drink was the dangerous Dan McGrew. Well, there's men that somehow grip your eyes and hold them hard like a spell. 'Twas he, but he looked to me like a man who'd lived in hell. With a face most hair and the dreary stare of a dog whose day is done, as he watered the green stuff in his glass and the drops fell one by one, I tried to figure out who he was. I wondered what he'd do. I turned around and there watching him was a lady known as Lou. Well, then his eyes went rubbering around the room and he seemed in sort of a daze, until finally that old piano fell in the way of his wandering gaze. The ragtime kid was still nursing his drink. There was no one else on the stool. So the stranger stumbled across the room and flopped down there like a fool. In a buckskin shirt that was glazed with dirt, he sat, and I saw him sway. Then he clutched those keys with his talon hands. My God, how that man could play. Was you ever out in the great alone where the moon was awful clear? Where the icy mountains hem you in with a solid you can almost hear? The lonely howl of a timber wolf, you camp there in the cold, a half-dead thing in a stark dead world, clean mad for the muck-called gold. And high overhead, green, yellow, and red, north light swept in bars. Then you will hunch what his music meant, hunger and night and the stars. There's a hunger not of a belly kind, that you banish with bacon and beans, but the gnawing hunger of lonely men for a home and all that it means. Fireside, far from the cares that are, four walls and a roof above, and oh, so crammed full of cozy joy and crowned with a woman's love. A woman dearer than all the world, and true as heaven is true. God, how ghastly she looked through her roots, that lady known as Lou. Well, suddenly that music changed, became so soft that you scarce could hear. But you felt that your life had been looted clean of all that it once held dear. That someone had stolen the woman you loved, her love was a devil's lie. That your guts were gone, and the best for you was to crawl away and die. 'Twas a crowning cry of a heart's despair, and it thrilled you through and through. Think I'll make it a spread misery, said dangerous Dan McGrew. It almost died away. Then it burst like a pent-up flood, and it seemed to say, repay, repay. My eyes were blind with blood. Then all thoughts went back to an ancient wrong, and it stung like a frozen ledge. The lust of to kill, to kill. Then the music stopped with a crash. For the stranger turned, and his eyes they burned in a most peculiar way. In a buckskin shirt that was glazed with dirt he sat, and I saw him sway. Then his lips went into a sort of grin, and he spoke, but his voice was calm. "A boy," says he, "you don't know me, and none of you care, damn. But I wish to state my words are straight, and I'll bet this gold are true. What you bird to the hound of hell?" And that is old Dan McGrew. Well, the lights went out. A woman screamed. Two guns blazed in the dark. When the lights went up, there on the floor lay two men, stiff and stark. Sort of pitched on his head and pumped full of lead lay the dangerous Dan McGrew. But the man from the creek lay clutched to the breast of the lady known as Lou. Well, these are the simple facts of the case. I was there, so I ought to know. Some say the stranger was crazed with hooch. I don't deny that being so. Now, I'm not as wise as some lawyer guys, but strictly between us two, the lady that kissed him and took his gold was a lady known as Lou.